Happy Thanksgiving week, folks. Nigeria and
Hello.
Miranda, we're back this week to cover Impact on AXS TV. It is November 24th. Hopefully everybody is safe and getting ready to celebrate Thanksgiving or just be around loved ones this weekend. If, you're not in America, you don't celebrate Thanksgiving and all. But hopefully, everyone's doing good during these times. But we're here to talk about Impact's episode as of the episode tonight of November 24th. This episode definitely. So I know for me, the first thing when I noticed what was announced for the night, I was like, so only 3 matches announced. I was like, it must be a lot of segments going on tonight. Although there was a few matches that wasn't announced that did happen, but a ton of this episode really was predicated around what happened backstage. So we have a ton to talk about for sure. Definitely want to just knock off a few little notes really quick. You do got final resolution December 12th on Impact Plus. Speaking of Impact Plus, Turning Point is for free on YouTube if you didn't get to watch it on Impact Plus. And then obviously you heard a change in commentary today as Madison Rayne was part of the People's Court. We'll just call it. What is the name of it?
Wrestler's Court. Wrestler's Court. Yeah, she was. Yeah. I mean, we'll get into it in a second, but Madison Rayne had some legal obligations to attend to.
That's right, to protect my boy Johnny Swinger, and obviously she was the right person for the job. But with that being said, Matt Striker making his AXS TV Impact Wrestling debut alongside of Josh Matthews. So before we get started with everything that happened on the show, initially, what's your thoughts about their dynamic? I mean, we've been pretty high on Madison Rayne and Josh Matthews, and there's no denying their chemistry. Obviously, they had to have amazing chemistry. These two are in love, married, and doing all types of cool things in social media life. But like on commentary, they really work well together. This is a change here. So what's your initial thoughts?
I was going to say it's a pretty big change, only just because of the personalities and the commentary direction that they have are very different. Madison Rayne plays more of that color commentary role that complements his Josh Matthews play-by-play. Matt Striker, though, is a wealth of knowledge in his play-by-play. And you could tell it from the very first match. And just throughout the night, his wealth of knowledge of wrestling, of different forms of wrestling as well, the history behind certain wrestlers, like he really just came in very strong with adding, I think, a lot of really great information to matches. I think he supplemented it very well and gave more of a critical eye. I think Madison Rayne focuses more on the storytelling element to it, and kind of, especially in the women's matches, her perspective on the knockouts division, which I think is great. So it's just very different. I think they each contribute something really unique in their commentary, but I think for more of the purist wrestling fan, they probably would like Matt Striker's commentary more this week than what they usually get with Madison Rayne.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that this plan works. It is very different than what we've been having over the last couple of months. Take away nothing from Madison Rayne. Again, I've been the biggest person to say I would love to see her back in the ring, but on commentary, I every time I get a chance, I like to praise how well she is, and just the tangent. The tandem with her and Josh Matthews. So, but Matt Striker, like you said, an abundance of knowledge.
Yeah,
I think what happens here, not for us, not for me and you, not for our fans who watch our review, I think this brings another level of legitimacy to Impact, where everyone's like, well, I'm not sure if I want to tune in. Impact always quickly gets overlooked when it comes down to the big promotions. And I think when it comes down to what gets people in the door, presentation is absolutely the first thing, and commentary is the biggest thing in presentation in sports. It can literally make or break what channel you decide to watch the NFL on or the NBA. And I think bringing them on, I think is truly going to bring back wrestling peers back to Impact Wrestling, because they know, and then people love to live their nostalgia. It's crazy to me that people when I hear other people's reviews or just mentioning Impact, they always somehow say TNA still, as if Impact hasn't been in there.
Yes.
And it's just I can't.
It's a force of habit. I think that's what it is that people just remember the letters TNA and
Yeah.
not Impact. So I think you're right on the track that Impact Wrestling still has some work to do to help bring in some of those fans that used to be familiar with the product, and also to kind of shake off the stink, as you would say, of TNA.
Yeah.
I think there's still a lot of work to be done, even though they've made a lot of strides this year with Slammiversary, Bound for Glory, the new signees, all of that. I think all of those aspects have made some terrific strides in Impact really reshaping its look and its feel as a company. But you're right, it still has a way to go as far as, what fans still think of the company, and bringing in just an expansive base of fans to it. So I wouldn't mind. I hope they do play around with this one day. 3-person commentary teams can be very tricky, and you have to have the right trio. I do think the technical and the play-by-play perception and persona of Matt Stryker would work very well with the color and storytelling of Madison Rayne. Josh Matthews would be stuck in the middle. He'd be kind of the person stuck in the middle of all of this. But I actually like that if they were to play around with the dynamic, I think it would actually be pretty smart, because again, they're different. They bring different things to the table. And so they would show two very different perspectives. But I think that could also then reach out to a wider fan base. I know for me, I'm a little bit more drawn to storytelling than I am drawn to technical ability. That is just my MO as a fan. But I know there's lots of other fans that love the technical play-by-play aspect and kind of digging deeper into the technical abilities of the performers in the ring.
Yeah, absolutely agree. So yeah, well, I'm definitely curious, like you said, I'm definitely curious to see where it goes in the future. How they play around with this more. But as of right now, I know tonight, I thought that the two of them did a hell of a job together. So definitely pleased, and a very big surprise, like a very humble but big surprise that commentary changed. So, but tonight's episode started off with the Knockouts Tag Team Tournament, and we got Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz versus the debuting Sea Stars, who I've been high on. We've been talking about this matchup possibility a lot in our previous episodes. We're finally getting to see it. I like this match, and you can tell that, again, that they're all familiar with each other. Sea Stars, I will say, I felt warmed up throughout this match. Maybe the jitters. I mean, again, it's a big opportunity, big things at stake. It's on television. And I think that, Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz are just naturals. They do a lot of trash talking, but they back it up. They truly know how to work everything. Can't wait till they get an audience and let them be doing what they do. But I thought the match was good, and I just thought, again, you just seen the Sea Stars progressively warm up as the match got deeper and deeper into it. But I love this match. I thought this was a right match to start off the night, set the pace, and also just another, like Matt Stryker said, everyone's talking about, who's in the Knockouts division, but the competition is increasing, and bringing the Sea Stars is absolutely a big, legitimate team that not only legitimizes this match, but it legitimizes the tournament and what's at stake in this tournament. So I loved everything about this, and I'm hoping we get more of them soon. So.
Yeah, I liked the match. I thought it was good. I wasn't blown away, and it's not a knock on the Sea Stars at all. I just think that this, the harder part about this, and they did mention this on commentary too, is that you just knew how this match was going to end with Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz winning, and I think the personalities of Tasha Steelz and Kiera Hogan just really overshadowed a lot of the actual wrestling in this match, which is not a bad thing. But I couldn't really get a sense of who the Sea Stars were. And this is me, someone who isn't as familiar with them as someone like you who actually watched them on the independent scene. So that for me, as someone who was more, I am familiar with Ashley Fox. I've seen her on NWA, but that's only in a limited capacity. So for me, I thought it was a solid match. It was a good match, but not anything that kind of blew me away. I do think, though, if the Sea Stars had an opportunity to compete again, I think that would, be a great opportunity for them, and maybe another way that they can shine a little brighter and really showcase more of their personality.
Yeah.
But I mean, the knockouts are really that division that is really stable and consistently have kicked off shows. And I think it really helps set the tone. I mean, it is great wrestling overall, so it's nothing to be down on. But that too, it was all right. It was good.
Yeah. And to add some more sugar inside the Kool-Aid here, hopefully if this was, part of a day of tapings, hopefully we do see another match with them. And I guarantee it's going to be better. And the identity of them too. I think because they're sisters and they've trained since day one together, there's no doubt the chemistry that they have amongst each other. But they have fun in the ring. When I say fun, I mean not in the sense of showboating, but like being in the right spot at the right time and let you know, like, we got you. Like they're smart in a fun way with good chemistry, and they're very much in sync together. I mean, again, I've seen them wrestle all types of talent on an independent stream. People way bigger than them, intergender, whatever it may be. They just have a sense of being able to fill the ring out with how they operate, have fun with doing it, reading their opponents, and picking up big wins in very, very very strategical ways. Again, that because they just click. So, and much to your point, yeah, this match is not the match that blew me out the water, because I've seen some. I'm just like, man, I do not know how they're not signed. But again, because of whenever you're coming into something or somewhere new, it's always a little filling out process. So if this is a taping for the night, hopefully they got another match. Probably they do something like a singles thing, like we'll talk about with Killer Kelly later, or they just give them another tag match to, another tag team that obviously got eliminated. So that could be interesting. I mean, I absolutely would not be at all mad if they did, if they did something with Tasha, Tenille Dashwood and Alicia.
I was gonna say that would be another great kind of perfect team. As soon as you said kind of a team that's already been eliminated, I think that would be a great setup, because then maybe they could show a little bit more of that dynamic, that connection. It wasn't something that I really felt in this match, but I think you could be more playful with a Tenille and Alicia, who, they're still figuring their dynamic out too. So I think that could be a funnier match, or just a funner match to be in. So I absolutely agree. I think, if they were have another opportunity like a team like Tenille and Alicia, and also I think too, it would help really up their flow. I think that they really played more of the dynamic between Tasha and Kira. And they did mention that the Sea Stars were sisters, but it just didn't quite feel like that. I think if they had a match with more of a mismatched team, you would really be able to see how well they work together.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, we obviously go to the next match in a second, but we will be totally wrong if we didn't just talk about the reason why the Sea Stars I felt look good, but they didn't shine like they should. It's because Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz shine in everything.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's hard. It's not because they didn't do good. It's because you have Tasha Steelz and Kiera Hogan in the ring. Like, they literally draw the attention to them in everything that they do. So it's tough. It's a tough order.
Yeah, I knew the match was going to be fun. I'm pretty sure they had a lot of fun backstage and catching up and stuff. But hopefully we get to see more of the Sea Stars in the Impact Zone. So speaking of tag teams here, now we talked a lot about Jordynne Grace and her mystery partner. Well, it has been revealed. Before we actually say who it is, I just wanted to say for the record, I like how it was handled. I do not like the backstage announcer just coincidentally. I just feel like I'm such a hater when I say it, but I'm just not a fan of that. It just it took everything that was so magical, and then it was just like, oh, you're just coincidentally standing here. I hate bad television, and I feel like Freeform, which used to be ABC Family, had a slate of shows. They used to always do this. They always used to be like, say like me and you were talking about somebody, And then that person random was like, hey, Miranda, Nigeria, hey, what are y'all talking about? And it continuously happens. And it's just like, I hate that coincidental, like, I was just right here waiting for you.
Yeah,
Like, oh, really?
yeah, it was a coincidental. You were planted. They're like, it takes away from the surprise. I think if there was just subtle changes in that segment where the interview came just a little bit later, or it was in a different setting, then yes, I think it all would have worked. But I agree. That kind of threw the whole dynamic of the
reveal
of the promo. Of the reveal and the promo off. And you know, what can you do? But the reveal was a good one. This was good. This was really good.
First of all, y'all put some respect on Miranda, because not only is she in the ring announcing, she's backstage interviewing as well, and podcasting about 10 days a week, and there's only 7 days in it. So just know when she's talking about how something should go down, she knows from experience, not just piggyback off of her. So y'all can hate me, but you just know she got that experience. But yes, Jazz.
Yes.
I don't know. I mean, somebody in the comments last week, I think, said it, but like, I don't know why it never hit me just like that. Like, it's got to be Jazz. I was so sold on Lufisto. Somebody told me that she said she would not be there. Lufisto's not one to ever.
Yes. She heard there was many a speculation, and I know she went on social media to be like, "Thanks, everyone," but it's not me. And so when she said that, it did leave the door wide open to who else it would be. And you're right. I mean, especially Jess has been doing a lot of work in Texas, and so and she's been very active in that scene, and also just across the U.S. She is going to be retiring soon, so that was the key. And I mean, this is a great choice. I think it's a great choice in tag team partner.
And by the way, I know I've been pumping up the Beast as being a selection, but before there was the Beast, there was Jazz. So this just works out perfectly here. So like I'm happy with the choice selection either way. And Jazz is a legend. She laid out her accolades and made it very clear, just because y'all may not know who Jazz is, you know, and you look at the dominance standing next to Jordynne Grace, that is imposing. That's going to be something special.
That's intimidation. That is experience. That, you know, is a technical work. Like, that is really the full package. Jess has just gotten better with time, and now her confidence and her ability to work has just gone through the roof. She talked about her accolades, everything. Like, this is a really great pick, I think. And I think it's, you know, hopefully we see Jazz, even if it's for a little bit, as part of the Knockouts roster, because I think that it's really going to be a fun dynamic that plays off. But I mean, Jordynne Grace is not here to play. Like, she needed someone that is of her equal, and she went above and beyond that. So,
agreed.
I'm impressed.
Yeah, I'm agreed. All right, so Reheat Raju and all this X Division stuff. Now, we done seen this from a mile. I mean, a mile away.
Called it.
That Suicide was going to be part of this. And we also, I don't keep saying we, but Miranda also was like, well, this is obviously the way that you get TJP and, you know, work out the whole New Japan thing. And sure enough, the seeds are absolutely planted in every way. But Miranda, I'm sorry, as much as I got to pat you on the back for this, I also got to pat myself on the back of, like, last week, I literally said, I love what they're doing with Crazy Steve. They are getting him into important storylines. That are a great match, showing that he's absolutely a wrestler, not just a gimmick with the Brian Myers match. And then you put him in a match where he Raju, and sure, it had the little gimmick thing about him being Suicide, but it was a match. It was legit. Yeah. It wasn't just wrestler's court for him or wrestler's house, any of that sort. He's involved in pivotal storylines, and I think that the match itself was entertaining, and it did the job they needed to do. But it also this match served so many purposes all in one. I mean, this is what creative has to do. This is how you progress storylines and weekly episodes by having matches that are doing 3 different things at once. You again, much like you said, TJP. They talked about him working the New Japan thing. He's not Suicide, so he can do New Japan. He can still have Crazy Steve pulling the strings here, whatever it may be. Suicide, obviously, about how they talked about it can't be TJP, but it could be Suicide. Well, Suicide won today. and now earned himself X Division
title
championship
opportunity.
title opportunity. It still don't have to be TJP technically.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's very smart on TJP, whether he was suicide or not, but now showing that he's working with Crazy Steve so that he can win the X Division championship, so that he can get an opportunity from Crazy Steve. And maybe he thinks, Crazy Steve is going to be just the right opponent that he can face pretty easily and then retain. There's a lot of interesting layers to it. And so I absolutely agree. It was a little bit of me, a little bit of you, and then we put it together and we tell the story, and that's what happened. So and I think it's actually great for Crazy Steve. Like you said, it's not just Wrestle House or Wrestler's Court. It was an actual really solid match and a storyline that he's a part of that involves wrestling. So I think that's I would not mind if he was the new Suicide after this, because I think it'd be great. But the X Division title scene continues to evolve and it continues to add layers. This is definitely not a clear cut and dry division right now.
Yeah, and again, like Suicide can wrestle Rohit, and it could be anybody. And then ultimately they could say, oh, it was TJP. TJP could not be here. He could literally be in Japan doing this thing. And they can, do it that way, or they can say that he won. It's so many things you can do. This is just really well that the possibilities is really limitless in regards to how they want to book the X Division with Crazy Steve, Suicide, and TJP. But it's all very much was real well done on tonight's episode. Okay. I'm going to toss it to you. I mean, I know I knocked off like half the episode of things, but like, what's next you want to cover? I was going to
say, kind of in comparison to Double Identity, we did see Susie and Su Yung appear tonight in the same place. Deonna Purrazzo, came out. Well, this was after Kimberly's match with Killer Kelly, and that itself was a really great match. This one I did like a bit more than the opener, because I thought Kimberly was just amazing in this match. And you've been calling it since day one. Kimberly's continued to progress. Her in-ring ability continues to shine. Her alliance with Deonna Purrazzo is, elevating her to that upper echelon. And we just saw the work that she did against Killer Kelly. I also felt like commentary really helped with this. Matt Strecker, as far as adding a little bit more to the technical abilities of both women and the moveset, really helped elevate this match to be kind of a pretty big deal. And seeing Killer Kelly with Renee Michelle, who we haven't seen, just that dynamic, seeing what we're going to have next week or in the future with the Knockouts Tag Team tournament, that, Deonna and Kimberly, her friend, and now they have to pay. And then Su Yung came out, even though Susie's back was turned the whole time. So this was really the first time, and I don't know how long, we saw both of them in the same area. And so I thought that was really interesting, that we may see more of both of them. This, this dynamic, this, I don't know what even want to call it, but literally, we could see Su Yung and Susie both as a team competing against Kimberly and Deonna Purrazzo. Maybe in a cinematic match. Maybe that's how you handle it too, which I think would be interesting for the Knockouts to have a cinematic match like that. But that was something that I found very interesting during tonight's show.
Yeah, I love how they shot that. I loved it. It was absolutely dope seeing the two of them in the way they did. I pop every time I hear Su Yung music, and the way how they did this, I was like, damn, this is good. Man, I know one thing. They better clip that out and put it all over their social media, because that was absolutely the moment of the night. That segment was done so well. The match and everything about that was just the highlight of the night. Quite frankly, whatever came after that, I do know because it's in my notes, but like otherwise, like, who cares? This was the must-watch part for sure. So I enjoyed that so much. Yeah, because after this you got the phenomenal one.
Yeah.
I love AJ Styles' old music, by the way. So I was like, heck yeah.
The fact that they still, I mean, they're like dibs. They still had it and they utilized it. There was a lot of points throughout tonight's episode where I thought this is kind of stupid, but in a funny way, not like in a dumb, not like, what am I watching? It was really silly. And I know that other companies get more recognition for kind of their sillier, funnier promos and funnier work, but Impact does funny pretty well. Yeah. And so if you're not watching Impact, if you don't enjoy funny wrestling or funny segments, or maybe you're only into one company that does that and you're not watching Impact, you got to give Impact a chance, because I thought there was some pretty funny segments throughout tonight's show. And yes, Swoggle came out as the phenomenal one, AJ Swoggle, because we know, we've seen the memes, we've seen it out there. Swoggle has been looking like AJ Styles for a minute now. Yeah. So why not utilize that?
Yeah, the wee nominal one.
The wee nominal one, yes. I mean, and I think it's actually great that Swoggle's been in actual wrestling matches. Yeah, we saw it with Brian Myers, like we saw it with Ethan Page. Like, they've been utilizing him as a wrestler. Of course, he's been utilized in other roles, but I have to applaud Impact for legitimately using him as a wrestler.
Yeah. I don't even know what to say. Part of me is just like, I don't want to see Swoggle in the ring no more. But when they do, I was like,
I did the look that Ethan Page had when he lost, and the fact that he did not want to leave the ring, because he's probably like, if I leave the ring, then this is real. If I leave the ring, then I really did lose. And so there is this suspension of disbelief or reality that I can relate to when I'm like, if I leave this, then it's real. Then this embarrassing moment is real. So I really kind of like that. And Ethan Page is actually great. I mean, he is super gifted, but his comedy is golden. It's priceless.
It's I think it's underrated at times, or sometimes I think people tend to forget, but like, don't ever forget, because it'll remind you really quick. I love All Things, All Ego. And that
Karate Man.
I knew it was going to be funny after with last week, and I was like, okay, this is just going to get silly on top of silly. Not to mention Carl Anderson and his promoting of all their
Oh yeah, the Good Brothers just use
advertisement.
That's just literally like what they get to do. Like, part of their contract, I'm sure, says that they get 5 minutes of airtime every week to plug all of their merch and shows.
Yeah. All right, well, I mean, we did have the Wrestlers Court, the boys versus Johnny Swinger. I mean, it was entertaining, and Rosemary does not like, or she's not in love with Johnny Bravo, but virgin blood makes her stronger. So on wedding night, so that's the thing. And well, it doesn't matter, because Johnny Swinger was acquitted of all charges, so that's all that matters.
Yes, because we did find out who really shot Johnny Bravo, and that was Lawrence D. Not Larry D. Lawrence D, because he was still infatuated with Rosemary. So that was a swerve on top of a swerve. But this whole segment was pretty funny, with D'Lo serving as judge, Tommy Dreamer as the prosecutor, Madison Rayne on the defense. I loved her opening statement where she's like, "This is done by a mastermind, a repeat mastermind." You see who I'm defending here? Yeah. And that's fair. That was a fair statement. So, like, Johnny Swinger getting buried like that, Johnny Swinger pulling all the stops for the sympathy vote, for bribing, all of that. But this was a pretty funny segment. Lots of little insider jokes and moments. And, again, as a wrestling fan, if you are really a hardcore wrestling fan, or a fan for a long time, this particular segment just has enough fun, but also inside jokes, comedy, all of that to just give you a good laugh. So I'm happy with that. Even in the beginning of the episode, again, Scott D'Amore with that dry, sarcastic humor,
He's like, I didn't know that was his.
And Dr. Ross making another appearance, Dr. Ross, when Scott D'Amore said, "Pull the plug," Dr. Ross said, "Well, no, we don't need that." And he's like, "All right, well, just."
Oh man, I mean, so I don't know what else. I mean, they had the main event, and then you had the Eric Young and Joe Doring thing. I mean, I don't have anything to say. I just know the blood job that happened was not good. But what's your thoughts on these last two matches or anything else with tonight?
Yeah, I mean, again, we talked about Eric Young and Joe Doring last week. Now they seem to be targeting Rhino. They interrupted another match, which again wasn't announced, but seems like really the only reason it occurred, I think, was Falaba and Davari. The only reason that happened was for Eric Young and Joe Doring to make their presence known. And Rhino came out, and it seems like that's where the program is leading to. I have to admit it's a little disappointing after the way Eric Young came in at Slammiversary and everything that's happened. I just am not really feeling this angle, and I probably won't. So I'm just honest with you. I'm just being honest. It's just not for me. Yeah, I mean, can you not? I mean, I think most people agree they're just not into it.
I mean, I have nothing, so I definitely was not going to sit here and say that anything after. I'll be honest. Everything after the Swaggle, I just was just like, okay, well, I'm just going to hurry up and pass the time. I'm not interested what's happening with Eric Young as of now. Time to change, obviously.
Yeah.
Ken Shamrock and Sammy Callahan. I'm with it, but it's also mirroring the same thing that's happening there. And I'm just like, who is legitimate the biggest, baddest ass is on here? And who should I really be following on that note?
I did like a little bit more of the Sammy Callahan, Ken Shamrock story there, only because again we're getting shades of old Sammy Callahan in this kind of new iteration, so I can appreciate still keeping at this major heel level, but you're taking it up a notch. You have him partnering with the world's most dangerous man, and again we see Sammy and Eddie Edwards, and you know what, I don't mind that at all. But I do feel like it's almost confusing that it's also being tied into the world title picture, because then it also feels like what's happening here? Are we, still having Sammy and Ken as part of the world title picture, or what is Eddie's role in this? All of that. I just feel like it's kind of confusing. It's hard to keep track of. And again, I'm still feeling Rich Swann as champion. It's still not something I'm super sold on. And so unless this is all leading to, say, another Sammy Callahan world title run, which would be kind of interesting. Look at the time of year that we're at now and what we're going to be heading into. Sammy Callahan was champion earlier this year. We may see 2021 start off with him being champion again. I don't know.
That's a good point.
I'm kind of more rather would see that right now than Rich Swann, unless they invest some type of story into this more. I don't know, but I was kind of sold. The blood did surprise me. I have to admit, I was surprised. That's not something I've seen on Impact in quite some time. So that I think, if anyone's going to pull it off, it's going to be Sammy and Eddie, 100% though. So
and again, I it's like, you're building them as legitimate badasses, monsters, super heels, whatever it may be. It's like, that's cool and all, but boy, didn't Eric Young and them just try to? Okay, never mind. I'm not asking any more questions.
Right? I don't know. I'm trying. I want to. It's your world title picture, but I'm just.
Yeah. And be clear, folks. Yes, you can have multiple heels on a program, but it's like typically you only have one monster heel or stable, tandem, whatever you want to be, duo, and you have two legitimately running the same trajectory, and it's like you can never have them against each other. They were just with each other. I'm confused.
Yeah, either like I would imagine if like Eric Young was doing something completely different, maybe going for the tag titles, maybe going for whatever it is, more of just like a more deeply personal was something else there, then I think it would make more sense. But I feel like what Eric Young is doing with Rhino is just too surface level for me. And then, Sammy, and I just feel like even with, the world title is kind of playing second fiddle now, to Sammy and Eric. And I'd almost rather one of them win it and we see them fight over it.
Yeah, I agree. Well, that's all I got for this night's episode. There's obviously some questions to be answered here, but as of right now, I think that there was definitely some good things done, some things I questioned as we talked about, and we'll see what happens as we get closer to Final Resolution, which is December 13th, their last pay-per-view exclusively on Impact Plus for the year, until we ultimately get to Hard to Kill in January, which should be exciting. But again, happy holidays to everybody. Please be safe, have fun. Definitely interact with us in the comments. Let us know what you thought about tonight's episode, and then we'll be back each and every Tuesday, unless, I don't know, a holiday falls on it or something, and something happens. I don't even know what days New Year's and Christmas is on, but it doesn't matter. Anyway.
I was gonna say they fall on Thursdays this year. So
okay, cool.
unless something happens or we're not able to do it, but for sure we try and come to you each and every week with your Impact Wrestling Access review. And thank you so much for everyone who leave some comments there, who's interacted with us on social media, give your thoughts, ideas, suggestions on what Impact should do. It's always really fun and interesting to read people's thoughts and their ideas, because there's definitely been some really good ideas in the comments recently, some really good perspectives. So keep on plugging away.
Right on. Well said. We'll catch you next week, folks. Thank you for watching.
Bye-bye.
Big